Hello, this is Pam. Today I'm going to share techniques that you can use with your background stamps. I've got quite a few different background stamps that I've had, and I always use them on, the backgrounds of your cards or your mixed media pages, journal pages, things like that. But I want to share something else that I do with my background stamps. It's kind of the kissing technique, that you can get a totally different look from a solid image stamp. This is just a sample piece here that I've done, and you can see all the different looks that you can get from the original stamp, like that cute little balloon image there. That's the original, and then this is the kissing technique that you can get, and so on. This is the original. This is the kissing technique, and then the leaves, and then the tree. And here I've done double stamping. So I've stamped the image, and then I took a different color ink and used this technique, but I stamped it right on top. Here's a heart that I did, and here's a little teeny starburst type flower image. And here's a flower that I did. So I'm going to show you two different samples. Oh, and down here I have a little border. And I'm actually going to double stamp them and kind of show you how you ink the background stamp and then put your solid image stamp on it, because that's the technique that you want to do. So I'm going to use the little balloon again, and then I'm going to do the border stamp for you, just to show as a sample. So let's get that one out of the way, and I have just a simple tag that I'm going to use the little balloon image on, and I think I'm going to put a darker piece of cardstock down so you can see a little bit better, because that the white on white there, you may not be able to see. So let me grab another piece. We'll use that one. That will be good. Alright, so this is the balloon image that comes from it's the Avery Elle stamp. Party animal he's called. I think he's cute. But this double stamping technique works best for clear stamps, because we're going to stamp twice. So on a rubber stamp, you can't really see where you're going to stamp again. Like this one's a rubber stamp, this one's rubber, that one's rubber. So you might get it off a little bit more than a clear stamp. So they're going to work the best for placement. So put your little stamp there on your block. And I'm going to stamp him first in the solid. And I'm going to use for this one two colors that are similar to each other in hue. These are Stampin' Up! Colors. This one's a Mint Macaron, and then the other one is Lost Lagoon. It's a little darker ink, because you want the solid image, you want it to be lighter, so your background image will show up. And make sure you get that inked good, and then just stamp it onto your paper, or like I said, I have a tag here, just like that. I'm going to let that sit and dry just a minute, because you want your ink to be dry before you stamp on top of it again. So I'm going to stamp the border. This is the little scalloped border, and here's the stamp set that I use. This is a stamp set from Simon Says Stamp. That's the full stamp set there, and that's the little border image that I had. Now that would be cute on a card as well. You could also put it as a border on a tag. I'm just going to use a strip of paper just to give you a sample of what it looked like. Now this, I'm going to use two different colors. This is crushed curry yellow, and then the chocolate chip is the brown. Just to give you a idea of how two different colored inks will work. So stamp that in your solid. And again, I'm going to make sure that those are dry before I stamp on top of that. And it might be a little off if you get your clear stamps exactly not on top of each other, but that's alright. So clean your stamps off. You want them perfectly clean to do the kissing technique. So get all the ink off of there and clean them off. And now we're going to use the background stamps. For the little balloon, I'm going to use the same stamp that I used in my sample. This is a Hero Arts background stamp. It's kind of like a herringbone background, so I'm going to use that one again. So all you do is ink up your background stamp with a little, you just need a little section because depending on how big your image is, you only have to ink just a little part of it. So put some ink onto that. Close that up so I'm not flopping all over. So ink that up. That should be plenty. And get your paper there. And take your stamp. Let's get it in the center so you can see what I'm doing. On clear stamps, you just want to go straight down and straight up, just like you would stamp on paper. Don't move it around or you're going to blur it. So bring it down and hold it down there for just a second and lift straight up. You can kind of see the pattern on him already. And I'm going to try to line this up without getting my head directly into the camera. You want to try to line it up as best that you can. And stamp that down. And that's pretty good. So that gives you a solid background, and then it also gives you a pattern. So that gives you another look out of your image stamp, and then it also gives you another use out of your background stamp. So you get many multiple looks. Like I said, you could do that in different colors. You could do it in yellow, and then you could put, you know, like a red or a purple, whatever you want. I like this technique because, like I said, it gives you a totally different look to your stamps and makes them stretch a little longer. Alright, so the next one I'm going to do then is the border. So let's get that one back in here. And let's get that stamp out of the way. And I'm going to use the hardwood stamp again. This is the Stampin' Up! One. That's the stamp there. And I'm going to turn it sideways because I want my pattern to run long ways. So let's get that inked up. And again, you only need a little section. However long or big your stamp is the only part that you need to ink up. And I'm going to keep this little strip again. I'm going to use this part down here. So I'm going to ink that. So there's our little part section. And again, try not to wiggle it around. Bring your stamp down. Hold it down there for just a few seconds. And lift it up. And this one you may not be able to see it all that well. The little lines on there. And again, line it up. Find your image and stamp down. Hold it down there a little bit and bring it up, and that gives another fun pattern to that solid image. So if you want to do just the solid image only, let me clean that stamp off. Like the samples that I have over here, if you only want this pattern and not the double, all you do, let me clean this off and I'll show you. You always want to start off with a clean stamp. And I'm going to ink that up again, since I took some of the ink off of it already. I can do a different area just to show you a different look of it. So we'll come up here where there's a little bit more pattern to that wood. So if you just want the pattern only and not the solid image under it, again, take your stamp, whichever one that you want to use, and just stamp it directly onto this background stamp, and then stamp it onto your paper. And that's the two different looks that you get from that technique. So whether you're wanting like a subtle pattern, maybe you want something in the background that's not, too solid, something that's just a little bit more lighter, not to take away from your main image, this would be a good technique to use. Or if you want to do this technique to where this is the main image, stamp the solid one first and then put a pattern on top of it, and it gives you two different looks. So I hope that you give this a try. Get your background stamps out and just play along, see what your stamps will do. Like I said, like this one here, since these are such a fine little image at the top, you will not get a definite line around it like this one. But like I said, again, that gives you a nice subtle image for background. Just like this leaf, you get a soft, subtle edge. So experiment with your solid stamps and your background stamps and see what you can come up with. You can see more of my projects on my blog. It's wearestampers.blogspot.com. Thank you for watching today, and I will see you next time. Bye.